What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Gonna talk about the NFL team from Texas, the great state of Texas, that did make the playoffs. The Houston Texans in their head coaching situation. Now, we had a national reporter, Jay Glazier, who works for NFL Fox, reported at the end of last week that David Culley will be relieved of his duties. He will no longer be the head coach of the Houston Texans, and that the organization will move into another direction. Now, a week prior to that, a local reporter for the Houston Texans, basically the Houston Texans beat writer, he's a guy that votes on the Hall of Fame. He's one of the guys that's a local writer but has national recognition. John McClain. He reported that David Culley will be brought back for a second season. That he couldn't imagine that David Culley would be fired after one season due to the circumstances that he inherited. The whole Deshaun Watson fiasco, low expectations. A lot of NFL pundits were predicting that the Texans would go 0-17. First team in NFL history to go 0-17. They actually exceeded expectations by winning 4 games to go 4-13 under David Culley. There was no way in hell that David Culley would be fired. Now, my intel is telling me that the Houston Texans brass, led by General Manager Nick Caserio and Vice President of Football Operations, a position that he's underqualified for, Jack Easterby, a.k.a. the Easter Bunny, a.k.a. Pastor Jack, are leading the charge to convince the McNair family, led by Cal McNair, who's the owner of the Houston Texans, and his mother, Janice McNair. They're trying to convince them to move on from David Culley. I believe they will be successful in convincing the McNair family to move on from David Culley, because Cal McNair pretty much has took a step back. Everything runs through Nick Caserio, but he is fond of David Culley. And they just gonna have to actually basically give a good reason why they want to move on from David Culley. Now, David Culley has had problems with game management, so people that haven't followed the Texans closely are probably going to basically ridicule the Texans on this move. If they do indeed make the move, and my intel telling me that they are going to move on from David Culley, they're going to ridicule the organization. They're going to basically throw a lot of bow and arrows at the Houston Texans organizations. They're going to bring up the fact that the Houston Texans are now going to be paying 2 head coaches not to coach their team. And when they hire their new head coach, they're going to be paying 3 head coaches. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have 3 head coaches on the books. So they're going to bring all that to the table once the Texans move on from David Culley. Cal McNair is very aware that his organization is basically known as a laughingstock around NFL circles. And this will just be another log on the fire. He's not too keen on letting that happen, but I think when it's all said and done, he will let Nick Caserio do what he paid Nick Caserio to do. That's basically to make all football-related decisions. And Nick Caserio has come to the decision to get rid of David Culley. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. The 2 prominent names that I'm hearing that are being mentioned for the head Texan head coaching job is, surprise, surprise, 2 New England Patriots. 2 guys that are on the New England Patriots coaching staff, led by Hall of Fame head coach Bill Belichick. That's the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, and the linebackers coach, Gerard Mayo, who's a former #1 pick of the New England Patriots. Those are the 2 prominent names. Now, I'm going to bring up a dark horse that I think could get some mentioning too. That is David Shaw. head coach of the Stanford Cardinals, who right now are having a downturn in the program. Now, when he took over after John Harbaugh left and went to San Francisco, man, you know, they enjoyed similar success that they had under John Harbaugh. One of the top teams in the Pac-12, but the last couple of seasons has been very, very mediocre, to say the least. And David Shaw, who was a hot name in NFL head coaching circles around 4 years ago, has not had the same cachet as he had 4 years ago. But he does have a connection with Houston Texans quarterback Davis Mills. He recruited him there. He always speaks fondly of him when people have asked him about Davis Mills. And that would be a natural head coaching starting quarterback combination. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Those are three names. I think, like I said, David Shaw is a dark horse candidate, but I believe it's going to boil down to the top two names, that being Josh McDaniel and that being Gerard Mayo. So that's what I'm hearing, man. I think they're going to make the decision maybe today or maybe tomorrow, or it might drag into next week, depending on what the New England Patriots do in the wild card round of the playoffs. They play the Buffalo Bills Saturday night. If they're eliminated from that game, then I think that'll get the ball rolling downhill as far as getting interviewed by the Houston Texans and the Texans brass making a decision on the next head coach of the Houston Texans going into the 2022-2023 season. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's my intel is telling me, man, David Culley will be let go. His hire came out of left field. He was not under anybody's radar as far as potential head coach. The Texans brought him in, shocked a lot of people across the NFL world. A lot of people didn't see this coming. He's been on many NFL coaching staffs, has a lot of experience, but he has never been a coordinator. Basically been a running back coach / receiver coach, and all it stops. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Maybe he gets reassigned within the Houston Texans organization, kind of like what they did with Romeo Crennel. Maybe that's the case, or maybe he moves on and joins another coaching staff. He's got a lot of NFL connections. Andy Reid, John Harbaugh. So maybe he will latch on to one of those teams' coaching staffs for next season. We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about David Culley being fired from the Houston Texans. Do you agree with that move, or you think he should be brought back for another season? And let me know your thoughts on who you think should coach the Houston Texans for next season, whether it be Josh McDaniel, Gerard Mayo, or David Shaw, or even Jim Harbaugh, who I'm hearing is the top candidate for the Las Vegas Raiders job, and is in here as, I'm just butchering this word, and right now as I speak, is here in town. He was here last night for the Bear Bryant Coaching Award. He was interviewed at the award saying that he's going to stay around for a couple of days, enjoy Houston, see some of the sights here in Houston. A lot of people speculated that maybe he's going to stay here because he's going to get interviewed by the Texans brass. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's doubtful, but you know how that go, man. When he made those comments, the rumors start swirling. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and subscribe to JB Sports. That's my channel, JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I holla.